one is lack of skills, knowledge, or understanding, or change in the workplace. These hinder employees in fulfillment of their existing job responsibilities and organization from achieving their goals. What are the elements of an effective TNA that addresses these issues and identifies the right action to be taken?
So let me, there are two parts to your question. One is you're asking what are the definitive elements of an effective TNA, and the second is what are the right actions, right programs, what are the right steps that needs to be taken to go to a good TNA. Let me answer your first question. So when you look at a typical, effective, comprehensive LNA, it should have two arms to it. The first one is being able to look at the current capability portfolio of your organization. When I say capability portfolio, it's about the various capabilities that are required across levels, across different roles in the organization. So the overall capability portfolio of the organization as it is currently, and what are the levels of capability? Are they at level 1? Are they at a novice level? Are they at an intermediate level? Are they at an expert level? What are the various levels of each capability that are there in the current organization? And what are the gaps? Where does the organization actually want these capabilities levels to be across various capabilities that you've listed down in your portfolio? And what are the gaps for your organization to run its operations smoothly in this current given period in time? So this is the tactical arm of your learning needs analysis. The other critical element of your learning needs analysis is to be able to look at what are the new, additional, or different capabilities that are required for your organization from a future growth and from a future perspective in mind. What is the organization's vision? What is the organization's future growth plans? And thereby, what are the new additional different capabilities that the organization needs to invest in? So this would be the strategic arm of your learning needs analysis. So your comprehensive learning needs analysis should have two factors. It should be able to identify your current performance gaps and performance needs of both the individual and the business. And it should also be able to facilitate future growth and career needs of both the organization and the individual through your learning needs program. Let's keep it very simple, right? What are some of the questions that you will typically ask an individual when you have to put a learning plan for an individual? You ask them, how do they see themselves performing in their current role? What are some of the things that they do well, which is what are their strengths and how is it applying in the role that they are doing? What are some of the areas that they struggle with in their current role? What would they need in terms of knowledge, skills, opportunities, experiences, support, training programs, etc., so they can up the levels of their performance and achieve excellence in the current role that they're doing? Then you go ahead and ask them, what do you see yourself doing 3 years from now? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And what are some of the things that you need to add to your portfolio or to your resume? Things that you need to learn, the opportunities, the projects that you would like to work with, etc., to get you to where you want to go in the next 2 years and in the next 5 years. What are the new abilities, experience, skills, knowledge, etc., so that you can achieve your future objectives? Now, these are typical questions that you ask your individual when you're trying to understand an individual's learning need. Just abstract it to the organizational level. A good learning needs analysis should be able to cover all of these questions at the organizational level. I would typically look for some of these elements these are some of the basic fundamental elements in your learning needs analysis. Now, if I have to go back to the second part of your question in terms of saying, how do you then, look at the right programs or the right actions or the right components of a typical LNA? There are many ways in which you could look at different learning needs, right? I personally use a very, very simple way of organizing some of these various things that come into a learning needs analysis. I use a trifecta. The first one is what I call as knowledge and experience. When I say knowledge and experience, I mean which is largely functional knowledge and role-related experience. which is one trifecta which is one arm of the trifecta that goes into your learning needs. Second is the skills and practice, both functional and behavioral skills. The third arm is your beliefs and attitudes. Now, this is completely behavioral in nature, which is transformative in nature. You can call it leadership, you can call it mindset. It is very simple. I think most learning specialists, L&D folks, HR folks, they have a very simple model called the knowledge, skills, and attitudes model. The only thing I've added here is I club knowledge and experience together. Because I believe if you want to look at learning needs, you have to look at just not imparting knowledge to an individual in terms of, I don't know, it could be very academic programs like MBA or executive programs, training programs, whose main objectives lie in theoretical concepts. I also had experience because a lot of this knowledge gains weightage only if it comes with learning from the experiences of others, figuring out how one can apply this knowledge in their own work. So experience is a crucial part of a learning needs map. The second thing, so if I have to go a little bit more into knowledge and experience related programs, they could be very informal. You could have book readings, you could have shadowing wherein people learn from each other's experience, seeing it in action, experience sharing sessions, role expectations sharing sessions. You know, the webinar like we're doing right now is another example of knowledge and experience sharing. People have very focused programs such as, you know, the mini MBAs, executive programs, etc. All of these cover largely functional areas. It could be very simple as having a session where you have about organizational values and visions. It's again falls under knowledge and experience. An anti-sexual harassment session, again knowledge and experience session. Now, all of this, the main focus is about educating your employees and increasing their knowledge base. The second element that you can organize your learning needs under is a slightly tricky one. It is called skills and practice. A lot of us, what we do, we just do a 2-day skill building program and we just drop it. It's almost like a tick box against the programs that we are supposed to offer. Now, it's tricky because of that. Now, the skill and practice, it could be any functional skill. It could be functional skills such as financial planning, systems thinking, managing risks. It could be any of these. It could be very behavioral skills like negotiation skills, crucial conversations, and so on. So these skills need the right concepts. Your programs need to be able to provide a wide variety of tools and techniques for people to know how to actually work with the skill, to apply the skill. And enough time and space should be provided as a part of your learning programs for these skills to be practiced, provided feedback with, a lot of coaching. All of these need to fall under your skills and practice bucket. Sufficient support through practice sessions, experimental sessions, feedback, coaching, all of this needs to become a part of your skills building sessions. Now, that's the second part of it. The third element, or the third category under which you can look at your learning needs is perhaps most significant and perhaps most transformative in nature, which works with your mental models. It could work with your beliefs and attitudes. It could be any mental model. It could be a mental model about an individual's mental model about his own self-image, his own confidence levels, or his own rigid beliefs about how one needs to work with the team, how one needs to work with the client. It could be anything. It really works at an individual, personal, self, inside-out level. It's very transformative in nature. A lot of your leadership development typically falls under some of this third category. We call it the beliefs and attitudes category. So these are the three typical categories that I will look for when I'm looking at learning needs. I'll just take one more minute to wrap up this question. If you have to bring it all together, or whatever we spoke about, when a client or a stakeholder comes to you and says, you know, we want this bunch of individuals to become better managers, then your LNA should be able to cover knowledge and experience needs, skill and practice needs, as well as the belief and attitude areas for all of these individuals. This way you can ensure that it is comprehensive and an appropriate program is offered for a particular bunch of individuals for a particular need. Let me stop here. Smita, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. So I think it's amazing the way you are using the trifecta way to analyze your LNA. I mean, you added experiences while knowledge, skills, and behavior was something that we have all learned in through our college and heard and done that. But adding experiences and your reasoning for adding experiences is really solid. I think that people who have logged in should take back this as a very key thing.